get that way. Cape Town to Cairo was the name of that trip. And we were supposed to do the Sudan, but at that time they changed it at the last minute. We were coming up by plane, and they took us to Ethiopia, which was under communist rule at the time, and it was really scary.
Wow. Is this when you came in without any lights on?
Oh, that was in Rhodesia. Rhodesia was just going from English to local rule. And we came down to Rhodesia, and they put the lights out, and we circled around and came down and landed. They put our lights out, but the lights out were down below so we could see where to go. And we picked up some English nurses who wanted to get out of there.
Right.
And then we took off by our own lights. It went up, it would circle straight up. It circles going straight up. And then when we got up far enough to be out of shot, they served us all champagne.
Yeah, wow.
For what they had put us through.
Wow. So you said Ethiopia was under communist rule, is that right?
Yeah, and it was scary. We landed there, and we had change. Oh, we couldn't go to Sudan. It was in upheaval. That was supposed to be on the list. So they switched us over to Ethiopia.
Right.
And we landed down in Ethiopia, and it was under communist rule, and it was a small plane. And we went down the steps from the plane, and there was a guard, a soldier with a bayonet who walked us from the bottom of the plane over into the airport building. And the airport building, the windows were painted with the communist scythe on the window.
Oh, wow.
And they were, to go in the airport, there were two guards standing there with bayonets, one on each side of the door. And so you went in kind of subdued.
Right.
Very quietly. And I bought a very pretty scarf that was designed in that area, and it was biblical. And I bought it for my friend, Millie, who couldn't go on the trip because her health wasn't good. They'd been traveling with us on all these other trips, and they couldn't go on that one. So I bought this scarf for her.
Did she appreciate it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would have liked to have kept it, but I felt bad for her not coming. So it was, yeah, it felt very uncomfortable. And before you got back on the plane, they kind of patted you down. You just walked a short ladder up into the plane. It was a small plane. It wasn't big one like you get into the airport. And it was an uncomfortable feeling. And you went in the building they had things. I bought that scarf for her.
I never heard that story.
Oh, I don't know if anybody wanted to hear me tell it.
Right. So what else happened on that trip?
Oh, then we were in Kenya, and we went on a safari in Kenya, and the Jeep drivers were very good. There were probably 4 of us in a Jeep, and each had a window seat so that you could see out everything going on. You weren't in each other's way, and we were all taking pictures out the window. And then the Jeep driver was going to the different areas where different animals were. And we went over where the elephants were, and we got between the mother elephant and her little one. And she was charging at us, and that Jeep driver zoomed back out of the way real fast. He was very good at it. And then they took us to see the different animals. And one I remember was the cheetah was chasing a smaller animal, gazelle or something like that. And the gazelle he finally caught the gazelle, and he was so tired he couldn't eat it. He had to sit and he puff it.
Right.
And he had to rest, but he's still hanging on to that gazelle before he could eat it. So, and the Jeep driver was very good. He followed, zoomed right along with the
cheetah.
With the cheetah.
Oh.
That's pretty good. That's my favorite animal.
You have to see the beginning to the end of
Wow.
what happened. And then they had the, let's see, what is it? The hippos. I guess it's the hippos. They're in the water. They don't like to come out in the daylight because of the sun. Isn't it the hippos?
Yeah.
And
they're dangerous.
yeah. And I told the driver we don't have any pictures of the hippos. It was time to go back to the camp for supper. And I said, let's go to the hippo pool again. We had started out there and we couldn't get good pictures, so I wanted to go to the hippo pool again. He said, no ma'am, no ma'am. And he took us back to the camp. And when we got back to the camp, we found out another driver had gone to the hippo pool, and all the people of the Jeep had been attacked by men that came from Tanganyika or across the border, and they were dressed in soldiers' costumes, which, I mean, outfits that they weren't really soldiers, they were outlaws.
Right.
And they held up the Jeep. They shot the tires in the Jeep, so it couldn't turn around and go back into camp. And they took everybody's clothing, every piece of clothing these tourists were wearing, and any jewelry they had.
Right.
But you were left in the jungle, stark naked, with no way of getting back to camp.
That's exciting.
Or anything.
When did that happen? Right before you were, or
No,
why?
the same day.
The same day.
The same day that my driver said no, he was going back to supper, and this other driver didn't.
Wow.
And when they didn't show up for supper, then they sent a party out
to search for them.
Search for them, and they did.
Goodness.
They did find them.
Good.
But by then, the robbers had already. They were in, well, what do you call it?
Like camouflage?
Camouflage. They were in camouflage outfits.
Yeah.
And they had gone back with all the goodies that they got.
Oh my
Holy
Those
cow.
people were so embarrassed they got up the next morning and flew out.
Really?
Oh yeah.
After being there, really? That's terrible.
Yeah, they were so embarrassed. They just flew out of the.
Wow.
To go. Whatever.
Right. Whatever.
Yeah. I was glad I wasn't. They're having a lot more trouble over there now.
Oh, it's horrible.
Would be safe. It was safe to go at that time. Oh,
well, except for the guys in camouflage.
yeah. Well, they came across the border they came from Tanganyika across the border.
Right.
They didn't belong. Another thing I had trouble with the elevators. They'd stick on you. And I have claustrophobia, so I carry a little pill with me. What do you call it? But anyway.
Valium or something.
Valium. I carry Valium in my pocket. So I did get stuck in the elevator all by myself, and I had to take Valium and wait. But we were very early in the morning on our tour bus. We were always out there on time. We had breakfast. We were always at the tour bus on time. So one morning, Ernie and I were coming down to go on the tour bus, and the elevator wouldn't bring us down to the first floor and open up, so we were late. Well,
you were stuck in the elevator.
we were stuck in the elevator, so the tour director, who knew we were always on time to every tour we went on, every morning we'd be there right on time. So they came into the hotel and directed somebody over. They knew where we were supposed to be, and they opened up the elevator and found us. So we got to our tour bus on time.
Oh, well, that's good. Now, is that the same time that you did the treetops? Wasn't that on the Kenya trip? Didn't you stay in some sort of...
Yeah, we did do treetops. I would have to think whether that was the same part of it. Treetops was really fabulous as a